fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The campaign is Horror on the Orient Express. It is available from Chaosium. I am the Keeper of the Secrets, and this is episode 37. Our recap will be given by David Gassaway as his character, Roland Kurz. But before we begin, we do have a new patron. Billy K has pledged $5 a month to our club. Thank you so much, Billy. So without any further delay, let's begin our journey into the darkness. David?
Thank you, John. A lengthy telegram, but it's on his time. My good Smythe, I hope this finds you well. We stepped off the Orient Express in Trieste, and though prepared for cold, the frigid and biting winds of the famed Bora took away our breath. Setting ourselves up in our hotel, we then stepped out to find Johann Winkelmann, as you had suggested, only to learn at the Museo di Storia d'Arte that the man was long dead. I think you have a strange sense of humor in such a dangerous time. Winkelmann's cenotaph resides in the museum's sculpture garden. He had been a noted man of letters and, in time, a Vatican librarian. After suffering a strange depression, he fell into company with a mysterious and doubtful companion, one Francesco Arcangeli, who was convicted of murdering Winkelmann brutally, and himself met his end on the wheel. Why did Winkelmann change his plans and rush back to Trieste only to meet his death? Despite Arcangeli having strangled and stabbed him, Winkelmann managed to make out a new will while yet living, granting all his possessions to a waiter at his hotel, the Locanda Grande. This location is striking. The hotel site dates back to the Roman era. It is currently called the Hotel Vanoli. What can this waiter have done for him? The Museo seems to have only 7 of the ancient medallions for which Winkelmann was believed to have been murdered, though the case was built for 8. Winkelmann's papers were purchased by one Giovanni Termona. Where are they now? Antonio Termona is his descendant, and we have an appointment to meet with him soon. Preparing for our meeting in a library, Neruda ran across a troubling artifact, a description of a court-martial from 1797. Soldiers, including one Legrand, who may have had loot from the burning of Jonnever's mansion on his person, met a man called Marchetti, who seems to have murdered Legrand for the loot, which he would claim later to have given to his master. Violence, death, and confusion followed, with one soldier claiming that Marchetti was transformed into a monster. Is the strangling of Winkelmann related to the strangling of the soldier Héron? Who or what was the so-called master? I have seen a body beaten beyond recognition in an instant in an alley of Milan. Before we left the library, we startled a hapless soul, the handless and tongueless Helmut Grossinger. As Neruda noted, to take these things from a person is an effective means of silencing them forever. I shall check to see if we have any word from you, Smythe, while sending this, with my best wishes, Roland Kurz.
All right. You recall what time of day it is? We should always write this down, but we don't.
It was late. Where we
Was it evening?
I believe
It
it
was Saturday. Went to the library.
We ended as the
Around.
library was closing, so we have not yet had supper, but we have plans to see the family on the following day.
So
But it's
11
Sunday.
a.m. tomorrow. It is Sunday.
Sunday. All right.
I thought it was about 5 p.m. or something like that, wasn't it?
Okay. Is there anything that you would like to do this evening?
Well, we were
The
going
wind, the
to.
wind is still cold, but it's manageable right now. It was really bad yesterday.
As Dr. Kurz alluded to, is definitely one to check if Smythe has sent us any telegrams.
And just to be clear, I think we arrived at 10:30 in the morning on Saturday, so I don't think it is Sunday because
No, Sunday you arrived Saturday evening late on the train,
oh,
You
it's 10:30
slept.
Saturday night. Yeah, okay, yeah.
and then it's Sunday
Good,
because
good.
you updated your stats.
Yes, that's it. Sorry.
So this is Sunday dinner time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Lovely. In Trieste.
We'll say it's early. It's still like 6 or 7 o'clock, so
Yeah, not quite dinner. Yeah.
So we
it's
can go.
already dark because it's winter. But there's a lot of people do tend to stay up late in this culture.
Yep.
So there are dinners. There's nightclubs. There's dinner places and all sorts of things. Even though it's quite cold.
Oh yeah, we could go to a swinging nightclub and
I would think that maybe we could a dinner. We could see if this hotel that is on the place where the waiter worked, if they have a restaurant, get a feel for what we're looking through there while enjoying maybe a good meal.
Yeah, that's interesting. I am curious how much the place has changed over the years since the site itself is ancient and it's gone through so many hands.
All right. So it's a short taxi ride over to that area. And in fact, the Hotel Vanoli is actually a pretty little hotel. As you get out of the taxi and it's you're bracing yourself against the cold. You notice something, that there is a little kind of gruesome little monument out in front of the hotel, kind of towards the side, not like in the middle of the sidewalk or anything. And it looks like the kind of wheel that you would torture somebody on.
oh geez.
And it does. I mean, it's kind of stylized, but at the same time, it's obviously there because Winkleman, who's very important to these people, was murdered there, and the criminal was tortured on that thing. I'd like you also to do a spot hidden for me.
All right. Ooh, 84. My first fail of the evening.
26.
Who passed?
I think I did.
90,
Okay.
so that's a fail.
Need to check
Dr.
what degree of success, if that matters.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. So Dr. Neruda, as you're standing there, you guys stop for a moment to look at this strange monument. Dr. Neruda, you kind of glance upward at the hotel. It looks like it's maybe a 4-story hotel. But directly above the entrance, and maybe 2 windows to the right, so the first floor above the ground floor, there's somebody in the window looking at you, the 5 of you, from the window. And it looks like a thin, pale, white or very light blonde-haired man, dressed in kind of a yellowish suit,
Man from the
staring up.
platform.
Yeah.
Roland. It seems our fellow in the yellow apparel is staying at this establishment.
You see him.
Oh, well, it is good that he made his way out of the depot. He's looking at us.
Yeah, he seems to be looking right down at you.
I'm going to respond to him?
When you do that, the impression's almost as if he fades away, except that you think that he just took a step backwards into the room, and you lose sight of him.
What floor was that?
Just one floor up and two doors to the right.
Yeah, we could easily find out who's in that room in the hotel.
We could go and knock on the door. I don't know if the desk clerk will give us names, but it should not be difficult if there's a central stair and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get an idea of his expression, Rhoda?
No, but it seems as though, I mean, he was watching us pretty intently. I wonder if he saw us on the platform as well. I don't know how he would have anticipated us coming here.
And you agreed also that painting we saw of Finkelman, he bore a resemblance to this, right?
Uncannily so.
Also, not the hair so much, but age, except that Winkelmann has been dead for hundreds of years.
I mean, if what we think is here, perhaps given its cerebral nature, it has something of a capacity to create ghosts of a sort.
When we saw him at the station, he seemed unhappy or impatient. Did he seem actually cold?
He seemed sad.
He seemed sad, but
you wouldn't say he was shivering, but he looked like he was way underdressed.
If he is the ghost of Winkleman, it makes a certain degree of sense from an occult perspective that he would be staying at the site of his death.
Yeah.
Perhaps he's waiting for his traveling companion who he abandoned.
Especially you mentioned that he wasn't wearing much and he didn't seem cold, which also kind of adds to that theory.
What do you think are the protocols now in Trieste about asking about who occupies a room? Do you think this is something one can do with a small tribute to the person at the desk? Or I wonder if anyone is in that room.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm curious about that myself. I mean, Italy's current political crisis, I don't know if they'll be...
The economy's not doing too well.
Foreigners asking about who's staying in which rooms might make some people antsy.
But on the other hand, the lack of stable economy, a sizable tip of some sort might be very appreciated.
Good. I mean, when you said he faded away, like almost like an ethereal, did you get, or maybe just a trick of the light, do you think?
What we can do is just ask, we could get rooms and see if we can get that room.
Yeah, we had already considered briefly changing to this hotel, which might be a center of activity. On the other hand, perhaps we do not want to bring the other simulacrum pieces into this space if it is charged already.
One interesting thing to consider is if the simulacra pieces attract each other, which we're still not sure if they do, they could just bring the piece to us if it's here.
It's worth a chance. It's worth a shot.
Although they could also pull our simulacra pieces to wherever it is and leave us with none of them.
That is the issue. We have to be careful.
We really still don't understand exactly what occurred back in Venice.
No.
No, we do not.
Let's go in. It's getting cold out here.
Oh, yeah, getting. Huh.
All right, so you step into the lobby. It's very nice. Like I say, it's a little chillier than you'd expect just because people are going in and out and letting the cold in, letting the heat out. But the concierge is there. And he says in Italian, what can I do for you?
First of all, buongiorno. Well, yes, my Italian is not as good as yours or Dombrowski's. But we would like to dinner, and also we are curious about the history of the place.
He looks, sort of rummages around under the desk, and he pulls out like a pamphlet, like a brochure for the hotel, that just has, unimportant to really, it doesn't really go into the history of the hotel, just the current owners and the amenities and so forth. And he motions for you that there is a cantina inside the bottom where you can get food.
Yeah, so this pamphlet does not suggest by any chance that the Vanoli family took it over after a member of the wait staff had been given a largesse from a deceased German intellectual.
Right, no.
Does this hotel have an elevator, or is it stairs?
It has an elevator, but it also has a grand staircase going up to the next.
I'd just like to just temporarily split off and just casually go upstairs to roughly where I think that room is, just to get an idea of a room number. Just casually. Okay. I'm not going to go breaking in or anything. I just want to just get the room number so we can discuss.
We'll have you do an intelligence roll to see if you can sort of work out. It shouldn't be that hard.
Oh, look at that. Oh, come on. Wow. It was a 00, but the classic 00 followed by a 0. Okay.
Somehow you end up on the 5th floor. You don't know how you got there. Since the stairs only went up, yeah. You went through some liminal space to get up there.
All right. So much.
We forget Theodore has always been here. He's always been the caretaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm the hunter. I'm the one that's supposed to be able to track.
So to make it realistic, you go up the stairs onto the landing, and then you know that it was very close to the front of the hotel. You walk in that direction, and it could be one of maybe 3 doors. We'll just say 101, 102, and 103. You're just not sure which one
makes sense
it was.
God. Okay, I'll saunter downstairs and join everyone for cocktails and appetizers.
Okay. And the rest of you are going to go into the restaurant? All right. It's a nice little restaurant. I guess unless you want to discuss something, nothing really much is going to take place in the restaurant, but I'll say that the cuisine is quite good.
Mm-hmm.
They've got an excellent chef.
The waiter, I assume he's probably multilingual.
Yeah, he's probably got multilingual. Yeah.
Gonna mention is like going, I'm in German because I don't speak Italian. See if he speaks German first.
He probably does.
Yep. And then I go, I'm kind of a little hobby of mine is touring older places that have a haunted history. I know that this hotel's old. Is there any superstition about a hotel ghost or?
He says, well, I mean, he hem-haws a little bit at first. And he says, we don't really go in for that sort of thing. It can hurt business. But there was a murder.
Oh.
And he says, "Did you see the thing out in the front, with the little
the
garden and the wheel?
the wheel. Yes.
There was a man who was murdered here in the 1700s, and they caught his murderer. They broke him on the wheel." So it says it's quite gruesome.
Oh, yeah. I heard. So this is the hotel where a Winkleman was murdered. Was that the man?
Oh, was that his name? I don't know.
Oh, well, I know he was murdered somewhere in this town, and his murder was broken on the wheel, so it would make sense.
I mean, you're kind of ghost hunters. I've never seen anything, but I've heard stories, things moving around and things going missing. You know, the same kind of stuff you find everywhere.
Oh,
on any particular floor?
No. People are superstitious.
Oh, yes.
Would that be all for you tonight, gentlemen? Shall I bring you the bill? I don't know if you guys are done yet or not.
Yeah.
Maybe another bottle of this fine wine and then the bill.
I was going to say, I wouldn't mind a coffee.
Coffee. I'll bring you coffees. Everybody?
Yes.
Yeah. It's good against the cold. Architecturally, the place is very modern, or it has bones of different eras, perhaps?
No, you're pretty much, as you read, it was completely demolished. And then Hotel Garni was built in 1873, which for you isn't 50, it's 50 years, you know. And then it was eventually renamed. So it's got a flavor of about 50 years old. But it doesn't look like there's old bones of any previous structure.
And completely demolished might mean that if there was a Roman cellar, it is filled, or
possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Coffee, wine, we warm ourselves up.
All right. So you have some coffee. There is something charming about the place that you do like.
Yep.
It's less prim and proper than the place where you are staying, the Palace.
Yeah,
Excelsior.
Yeah, if we find any reason to explore further, it might be more comfortable to do so from here, but
maybe we could try. I've noticed around where you mentioned you saw that figure was somewhere around rooms 101, 102, or 103. Maybe we could see if we could get one of those rooms. Certainly, the extra cost would not be that impactful to us.
Well, and he hasn't come down for supper.
Maybe he's having room service.
Maybe.
We could inquire to see if any of those rooms are available.
It's just peculiar that he'd be dressed in the same way, standing out in the cold at a train platform as he does in this hotel room.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Plus the uncanny similarity you mentioned, and also he was not cold, wearing very little in the icy cold. This all seems very peculiar.
Do you think if we step out, he will be at the window again?
Doesn't hurt to look.
It could be worth a try. Never know.
Yeah, after we finish these coffees and pay, we could take a stroll back outside.
You should, now that you've been inside and outside, you should be able to kind of triangulate which of the rooms it would be.
There's no way we could roll another 100.
Well, I wouldn't make you roll it again.
Thanks.
It's statistically going to be 1 in 100 on our next roll.
Sure.
So we will assume that's what you do. You have your coffee. One of you steps outside and counts. You come back inside and kind of looking at the stairs and where the rooms would be, you're pretty sure it's 102. You're pretty much convinced it's 102.
If we knock and someone answers who we don't recognize, we say we thought that our friend Katerina Cavallera was staying in this room. We're very sorry to bother them.
All right. So you go up the stairs. You all go up the stairs?
I'll stay down.
I'll stay down as well. I was thinking of actually trying to rent 102. Or
I'll go with Roland, and we should bring Dorian because Dorian can pick locks.
Yes,
Okay.
I am going. That's why I was going with you anyway, just to.
Okay.
and speak
Our good old anthropologist.
So the three of you go up the stairs, and you go, almost directly to 102.
Is there light shining under the door?
There is not. Come to think of it, you're not sure when you were outside whether the light was on or not. There are lights on the outside of the building, which kind of reflect in the windows.
Yeah, that would help him fade away if he stepped back also.
All right, so you're going to go up to the door and knock. There is no answer and no sound. From the door.
What do you want to do, gentlemen? Do we really want to go? Do we want a little nosy, or?
Now, if you decide to try to do that, I'm going to have you roll a luck roll because there are people walking around in the hotel.
Yes, that is. This is quite a public place, so if we do decide to do that, we need to be careful.
Well, we should knock first.
Yeah, you knocked.
Keep
There was
knocking.
no answer.
We
no
did
sound.
knock.
Okay, right.
That's
No
why
sound.
I'm talking about picklocking, because we knocked and there was no sound.
Yeah, I think 3 knocks, we wait a moment. 3 knocks again, still dark, still silent.
We give it a few. Maybe look at the crack under the door just to see if there's any movement. Maybe
Nothing.
put an ear up.
No sound. I mean, you can hear the vague sound of downstairs in the restaurant, but
Was there?
You hear
How
nothing
is
through the
this? So we came up a stairwell. Is this like a long hallway with like a going around a corner at the other end?
it's more like there's 2 stairways going up, and then there's a kind of a rotunda going around it, and the room is just right here. So you can actually see
Downstairs.
you can see downstairs if you go over to the railing and look down.
Okay.
Oh.
So
we give we and I shall have a little pantomime. We watch with eyes open while Dorian attempts the door, and if someone appears, then I am your drunk friend, and you are waiting.
Okay. So Dorian, do a luck roll first of all, and then do a lockpick roll.
I have the shittest luck out of all of us because I spent a lot of luck earlier.
You know what?
I didn't gain that much.
Because you're picking the lock, we'll have either Gabriel or Roland do the.
Thank God,
roll.
because I have
I have
39 luck.
I have a 57.
That's 2 more than me. We are in ballpark.
All right. 57.
All right. Yeah, you guys managed to block Dorian,
My
but now
heart
let's
just
see if Dorian
leapt out
can
of my
pick the lock.
chest.
Obviously, it was meant to be, you know?
31. That is a regular success.
Okay. So after a couple of seconds, and what might have been a close call, except that it wasn't, you click the lock, and it opens. It is dark inside.
I guess I go to turn on the right. Well,
Okay.
figure it out.
You find a light switch inside and turn it on. The room looks as if it has not been occupied in at least a day or two. It's very well made. It's all, everything is in place, but it doesn't look like anybody's in this room. If you go over to the window and look out, you are now 100% convinced this is the room.
Okay. Yeah, Roland, Gabriel was.
I'm also, yeah, at this point, I'm now fairly certain that we must have seen an apparition of sorts.
Yeah, I think it's very unlikely that we see the man sat in the train station and the same man here looking at us, and yet he has stepped out of the room, leaving it entirely intact and locked behind him with no suitcase.
Well, should we just look round? If someone was in here more recently, there would still be some form of evidence, surely.
Well, I wonder.
Pretty sure.
Because the room has obviously been cleaned, it only takes you a
Yeah.
couple of moments to look around and realize that the toilet paper is still folded neatly, and yeah, there's nobody.
Yeah,
in this room.
we could rent a room here.
Yeah.
And maybe one or two, like
Good.
we could get 2 rooms, 2 of us stay here, the other 3 go back. I'm sure we don't Gunter and Dorian don't want to be parted from there.
No,
Yeah.
I do not.
Also, I think, and at the same time, perhaps our long departed friend was signaling us not about this place, but about his nature.
Possibly it could be
We might see him everywhere we go.
it could be like a sign, some form of message to us that he is a riddle that we have to solve almost.
I mean, in my studies into things esoteric and dealing with religion, I mean, there are countless postulations about how to communicate with the dead and with spirits. I don't believe that any of them have any practical value, but it might be that if some of us stay here, we could try to do our own pseudo seance and try to get them to talk to us.
We could indeed.
The fact that you were all part of the Arcane Society, you've seen so many charlatans and fakes. You pretty much know the form of all of those sort of. I mean, the obviously the seance form and stuff like that are established things, but most people who do them are just fakes.
Right. And I mean,
light shows
I have a 75 occult, and I've come across some real Cthulhu mythos stuff at this point. So we could I mean, what?
We could give
what's
it
Cthulhu?
out of medicine. I mean, we've seen some actual supernatural things at this point. I think we could come up with something to try to get this.
Now to bring him back to speak to us. Yeah, perhaps. It may be that we should simply retire tonight to our rooms that are paid for and sleep well before our meeting with Termona in the morning. And consider, that I mean, it is possible that since we saw the Geist Winkelmann at the train station as well, that we can summon him in our hotel without moving. He is about the town.
Perhaps. I didn't sleep too well myself at the other hotel, so I might just get a room here for the night and try. Nobody has to join me, but I don't see how it could hurt.
Yeah, I think if you do, at least one other should stay.
I don't mind, Nerida. I could stay. Just one I've got. We've got one of the pieces because I'll have to keep it with me. Go back. And they could be almost a test.
The presence of the piece could help in some way. Who knows?
Whereas if we have all 3 pieces that we have
I don't like
here,
the idea of transferring luggage, transferring the pieces here either. But I don't know.
But you cannot be alone. But I don't want to. I feel like I need to keep my piece with me.
I wouldn't think there's danger in taking one with us. We should probably leave the room in case a maid comes in. I don't think this specific space is important any longer. It wasn't here when he was murdered.
All right. So, Dr. Neruda, are you going to then try to get a room here? Dorian, were you going to do the same or share a room?
Yes, but obviously I would like to get at least the arm from the other hotel. But that's the problem. So I don't know whether I should stay with you or not. I don't know. Someone without a piece.
Again, you don't have to. I don't anticipate anything.
It's the simplest thing. We all Neruda should at least have his robe and slippers, and so we'd all to go back to the original hotel, and the two of you come back and 2 quick cab rides. I think nothing could be simpler.
Make sure we secure the room here first.
All right. So, Dr. Neruda, you're going to go back to the concierge.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing Dorian is with me because I don't speak Italian.
Yeah, good reason I'm with you at the moment, yes.
Concierge probably speaks your language, so.
I got Spanish and English, so.
So you want a room in the hotel?
Yes. Just for the night.
Want to ask for a particular room, or is he just going to put you on the
I'll ask for it was 102, right?
What, 102? And he checks and he says, yes, that's vacant. We can put you in that room.
Excellent.
All right, so Dr. Neruda is in 102. Dorian, are you going to go and come back?
Yeah, I'm gonna go and come back.
Going to bring the arm
I am.
here?
One,
Okay.
then Neruda's not alone. I'll probably see if I can get another room. Maybe see if one either side of Neruda is free.
We'll say 103 is free.
Yeah. And also it's a test to see if the piece reacts to this area.
Okay.
So I might not get much sleep because I will be probably seeing if the piece reacts.
Theodore, Gunter, and Kurtz, you're all staying in the Excelsior.
Oh, yes. It had the
Yeah.
view of the ocean.
Yeah,
All right.
definitely want to check to make, immediately check on the pieces of the simulacron.
Everything seems to be in place. And at this point, Dorian's going to take one of the arm with him.
Good.
So now one piece is in the crap, I lost the page. Man. The name of the hotel. Shit. Vanoli?
The one
Vanoli.
The Vanoli. And one and 2 pieces are at the Excelsior.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Manoli
Right.
is the other one?
Vanoli.
Vanoli. It's so important to the story that Tom can't remember it.
Well, it's because it goes from one name to the next name to the next name to the next name, the way it's written here.
I was wanting to write the address down, but
all right.
Well, players love writing those down.
Oh, yeah.
So the cold temperatures, making your way around town in the cold is exhausting.
Yeah.
So when you come back, you're all going to pretty much, unless you have a nightcap or whatever, you're going to eventually go to bed. You've got an appointment tomorrow morning with Antonio Termona. I would like you all to do power rolls.
ooh, 99. That's a fail.
I beat you.
Oh, really?
Triple
I got a
goose eggs.
33 out of 50, so I do succeed.
No,
I rolled a
got
98.
33. 2 of us rolled really well, and the rest rolled
Terribly. 98. We had 98, 99, and 100?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Two 100s in the first dozen rolls.
Oh, good.
That's not a good sign. That's a bad omen for
I
things to
just admit
come.
because I was bragging about sleeping so well the night before.
Those of you who failed?
Critical.
Okay. Those of you who failed. Critical? You got a 000? Okay. Dr. Roland, you are going to lose 6 magic points.
Ooh.
The other 2 of you can roll a 1d6 and see how many you'll lose.
3.
I also lose her. Are we getting them back at regular rates?
You get them back at 1 an hour.
Okay, so I lost
So
them.
you would have gone back to normal, but
Okay, and now I'm back down 3. Okay.
and those of you who lost, you wake up not very comfortable, somewhat exhausted. Otherwise, you wake up okay. Are you going to get together for breakfast?
Yeah, probably.
And where?
Yeah. Well, which one's closer
we
to?
We just got rooms
yeah.
for the one night, so I think it makes sense for Dorian and myself to taxi back over to the palace.
Okay.
Oh, thank God.
Right.
He's reacted during the night, or was it just not? Did it just?
Now I forget when Termona was going to have when you were going
11
to visit.
a.m.
11 a.m.
All right. So you've got a few hours this morning to kill if you want. You have a decent breakfast, and you may chit chat. Unless you have nothing, we can skip ahead.
We'll just say we stay the night there and nothing happens. So
Really happened.
I'd like to check on the pieces very quickly of the simulacrum, the 2 pieces that were at the Excelsior. Did they move around at all, or do they just exactly where they were?
It laid next to me all night.
Yeah, they're fine.
Both of them?
Yes. Well, they're together with Gunter, right?
Yep.
You snuggled both pieces.
No, not literally. Literally.
No. He doesn't snuggle both pieces. The torso snuggles him, and he snuggles the leg.
Okay.
And Dorian and Nerita come back and join you for breakfast. Dorian still has the leg or the arm.
Oh, good gracious.
Leg. Okay.
All right.
So coffee and the paper, maybe something's happened in Trieste.
Let's see.
Nothing of note has happened in Trieste. There's mostly people on the street are concerned because there are a lot of black shirts that have joined Mussolini's group, and they are wandering the streets. Nobody wants to say anything really bad about them, but you get the definite impression that they're just a bunch of thugs with authority.
Mm-hmm.
They're not nice to foreigners, so you will want to be careful. All right. Anything before 11?
Do we have at all to organize a strategy for Signore Termona? We have simply academic interest, yes. We have a friend, Professor Smythe. He recommends we study Winkelmann. We are tracing a lost artifact, and we think somehow the Winkelmann curiosity, the missing coin, perhaps somehow it plays into effect. Yeah, if we would like to see his papers, perhaps we can write him up when they are translated and published, and he.
Yep.
We'll see if he's friendly or unfriendly.
Well, he seemed friendly on the phone, but some people are different on the phone. They've got to appear more business-minded and friendly, give a friendly aesthetic. But when we meet him, we will see the truth.
Well, from a few people at the museum, from a few people at the library, and little bits and pieces, the Termonas have a reputation for being scholars. contributors to the various archaeological and so forth. Academia.
Did I miss when we went to the telegram office? Was there anything from Smythe?
You didn't say that you'd actually. You kept saying you were going to go.
Oh, well, I'd like to do that before the meeting then.
All right. So you get to the telegram office and you use your restaurant code, and there is nothing.
Ugh. Silence from me.
We should make a point of getting a London paper or two and making sure there's no news about him. No further news.
Probably have it in the library.
Yeah, perhaps a telegram to the university or something, just to make extra certain that he's receiving our news.
Now, you recall that as far as everybody's concerned, he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he's in hiding.
He's in deep hiding, so no one will know. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay. So probably around 10:30 or so, you catch a taxi, and it takes you into a rather prosperous neighborhood, not far from where the museum actually is. A beautiful little villa. There are gardens around it with statues, and of course the hedges and the things are in winter mode, so there's piles of snow on here and there, and but it's a white house. It's white. In that sort of classical looking style. You go up to the front porch, and it's like a little semicircular front porch with a little tiny dome over the top of it, little pillars coming down, and a big double door. You knock on the door, and you can hear somebody coming towards it. It sounds like marble floors, so there's sort of a clickety-clack. The door opens, and there is a man standing there who looks almost like a comic book villain. He's got a patch over his eye. He's dressed very severely in a suit. And he looks at you up and down, and he says in Italian, he says, "What do you want?" It's obvious it's the butler.
We have an appointment to meet with the Termona and Anthony. Is it Anthony?
Antonio.
Your names?
I'm Gunter Block. This is Dr. Gabriel Neruda, who is the one that the appointment is under. Dr. Kurz. Then
no, it is under Dabrowski, because I put it.
Do a psychology roll on this guy, this servant, this butler.
Actually got a pretty good psychology.
81. I think that he's having thoughts about sexual relations with his mother.
Wow.
66 out of 68. So
nice.
Yeah, those of you who pass, he's borderline rude. Maybe that's just the way servants are here, but whatever. He's borderline rude. And he says, "Come inside, out of the cold." I don't know why he sounds like Russian, but he's very Italian.
Slightly
comes
rude.
In.
It's cold.
You come in, and it is in fact a kind of a cold marble floor. Marble floors never seem to warm up much. It's checkerboard pattern, black and white. There are this is kind of the foyer, so it's round. There is no fireplace in the rotunda, but you can feel heat coming from the other parts of the house. There's art hanging on the wall. There are a number of sculptures, and he says to you, "Wait here." don't steal anything. And he turns around and walks away. So for the moment, you guys are alone in the room.
Well,
Wow.
we were just going to steal a bunch of stuff, and now that he told us not to.
Well, hopefully, all the rudeness of the house is in that ass clown's.
I think perhaps he lost his eye to a disgruntled house guest.
I'm gonna look around at the just kind of cursory glancing at the artwork and stuff, see if there's anything that grabs my eye or if it's just nudes.
Grabs your eye.
Yeah. Yeah. Not intended.
All right. So aside from maybe one painting that's a sort of Greek fantasy or Italian fantasy sort of looking thing, they're almost all portraits.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see from the styles of clothing in them and the faces, they're all probably related. They're probably all Termonas, and they're from different periods, in time by the way they're dressed. You also notice a couple of interesting little sculptures. There is for all intents and purposes, you would say a kind of exaggerated sculpture of a dancer.
Mm-hmm.
It looks kind of like modern art because it's very elongated and stretched, and the arms are very long. And there seems to be something on it, like a translucent sort of, how do I describe it? It almost looks like something was melted on it, or maybe it's just sculpted that way. It's very avant-garde, we'll call it.
Right.
The other thing that you see is a vase. It looks very old, looks very valuable. It's got a lot of pretty, maybe Greek or old Roman. It's got dancing figures on the sides of it that are very similarly sort of in an Etruscan style where they're kind of exaggerated and elongated. But that also has traces of this, almost like something was dripped onto the vase, or where it was excavated from. It was encrusted with minerals. Both pieces, the modern one looks old because of it.
Right.
And the vase does look old.
The modern.
Do you know what this?
Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to say, does our anthropologist friend here know what's on these statues?
You mean archaeologists?
Archaeology.
But yes, I can.
You can roll an archaeology roll.
I mean, archaeology is even better.
I do
than
have
anthropology.
anthropology. I do have anthropology as well, but I will do archaeology because it's 58 out of 70, so just a regular. But...
Okay. So the vase, you're pretty sure it's early Roman. The sculpture of the dancing woman doesn't really look familiar at all. You're not sure that it's that old. Maybe 100 years, maybe Art Nouveau.
Yeah.
What's the scale of the dancing woman? Is it
just
the same
it's just little.
scale? Oh, it's a tiny figurine. Okay,
yeah.
Got it.
I mean, scale is all about perspective, right? Like if you're Gunter and his eyes went very wide when he realized it was a dancer.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how many times will his heart be broken on this trip?
Oh, let's not talk about that. So this translucent thing that's on it, is it like completely covered, or are there spots where it's not?
It reminds you of, like, well, you're not really sure. It looks almost like it might have been excavated from something that had minerals and and something dribbling on it, that built up over time.
It sounds uncannily as though there might be inorganic chemistry involved.
perhaps.
I will
Yeah, do an inorganic chemistry.
Yeah. I will stand also in such a way that I can give it a little fingernail scratch without being seen the moment the person enters. In case we are inconvenienced. 29 is only a regular.
Okay. So the way that it's on there, and the way you said you touched it with your fingernail, it's hard, but it's not that hard. You're able to indent a little bit into it. You think that it might be like calcite.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
does it shimmer because there is some crystalline nature, perhaps?
No, it's more smooth.
Smooth.
Yeah, it's quite smooth. Like
Calcite.
It definitely looks like something that, like maybe it was kept underground and just the natural minerals dribbled over it and eventually built up a
Is
layer.
this the sort of thing that might be expected in a cave environment?
Possibly, yeah.
Maybe even a wine cellar in an old house.
Yeah, or a crypts underneath.
Crypts underneath.
Something like that.
And yet this other piece is perhaps less than even 20, 30 years old. So it'd have to be very active if it was the same source.
About this moment, a man comes around the corner, and he's dressed rather well, but not super formally. You know, it's his home. He's not working. He comes around the corner and he's like, "Oh, you've arrived. I've been so anxious to see you. Don't pay attention to Marco. He's an old servant from the house and he's very gruff." He comes forward to shake your hands, and I'd like you all to do spot hiddens.
Oh yeah. Come on, baby. Oh, fuck. No.
95.
Oh.
You're really rolling today, aren't you, Dr. Nerd?
I am
success.
somehow on a roll.
When did Stu teleport over here and take my dice and replace him with his? That's what I want to know.
Compared to last week, I am on a roll with my dice.
So when he comes up and he's shaking your hands, who passed?
Hard
I got
success.
no free.
Okay.
I got no extreme.
Okay. Dorian and Roland, you both notice that there is no arm coming out his left side. He's got a shoulder, but the sleeve hangs down and covers. So maybe he doesn't have an arm. You've seen a lot of war-wounded people in the past couple of weeks.
Does he look like he'd be of the age that would have fought in the war?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He says, please come inside. This room is somewhat cold. We'll go into my study. You said that you were from where?
I'm sorry. Miskatonic in the USA.
In the United States, yes. Very prestigious college. You had said that you were studying our Winckelmann.
Yes.
Yes, we're here doing some research into Eastern European religions and Winckelmann's work with Greek art and sculpture. I mean, the religious significance of such things to the ancient Greeks is something of particular interest to us in our research, and he seemed to be an interesting fellow and want to learn more about.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yes. Well, and he begins to tell you what he knows about the Winckelmann story, which is stuff you've already gleaned. He mentions the epitaph, that his family gave part money to put the epitaph up, and that after a period of time, his I don't know how far back ancestor, his grandfather, great-grandfather, whatever, purchased the Winckelmann papers, which the family has kept. Of course, he says, we've got quite a collection of all sorts of different things, but things that we've picked up over the years. But the Winckelmann papers have stayed in our possession since then. And he takes you into a room off of his study. And there is another similar portrait of Winkleman. And there are some cases with books and lots of papers and things like that. He says, well, this is what we got from that collection. I'm not sure what good it's going to do you, but here it is.
Was there a journal too?
Oh, yes, this is the journal right here, and he points to it under the glass. He says, perhaps you'd like to look over it, to read it?
Oh.
And he says this with a big smile on his face.
That would be my
pleasure. Nothing makes academics happier than being able to read things.
Well, let's see how you do. And he opens up the case, and with his one hand, he pulls it out. Let's see, he hands it to you, Theodore, since you asked for it.
And I speak fluent Italian. Read it.
Yeah. You open it up very
German,
carefully.
Oh, he's German. Never mind. I hand it over to Gunther or Roland.
Well, Termona has this sort of.
He's got like the cat.
He's waiting for us to open it. Like
delightful. Yeah, he's waiting for you to open it. Whichever one of you opens it, you immediately realize that it's been written in ancient Greek.
I do not speak.
Yes. No, none of us do. To be honest, it's just been kept by us as a kind of a curiosity. As I say, we have such a large collection of art and stuff. Perhaps my great grandfather was a bit interested, but I've never even tried to do anything with it. Although I know a few scholars who might be able to help. I'm not sure if you would be able to decipher it. All this other stuff. This is from his study, his notes on that book that he wrote about Hercules. This is all in Latin. And he points out to the other things, but they're all in almost all of his research papers he did in Latin. His personal stuff he did in this ancient Greek. And that's all I really know.
I can read Latin.
Well, when you look over some of the Latin documents, they're all very
dry academic
stuff about his research in Rome and stuff like that.
Would you mind us getting someone here to translate this? This is a fantastic find. Great value.
Well, I'll bring it with you, and let's go back into my study and see if I can locate someone.
Yeah, we can make also a photostatic copy if we need to take it to an expert who's not present. But if you know someone, of course.
So he looks through his maybe he's got a Rolodex. I don't know if they had Rolodexes back then, but he looks through it and he says, it's a friend of mine, Marcius Monanelli. Marius Monanelli. He actually is an expert in ancient Greek. I could give you his address, which he writes down quickly and hands it to you. I can give him a call, tell him that you'll be over later if you want.
Oh, yes.
If you're from the university, Miskatonic, you're probably well aware of how to handle such things as this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to lend it to you as long as you keep it safe and I mean, one academic to another. We're all scholars, aren't we?
Of course.
Are the best of us also gentlemen? Signore Termona, I wonder, it is curious to me, after Herr Winkelmann's astonishing career, and his many successes. Do you not think it is strange, the last of his life, when he travels first with his friend, the art historian, and then turns around and meets his Arcangeli? And what do you make of him being so nearly killed and yet changing his will? Are there traditions, stories about this mysterious part of his life?
As I recall, I think you might have it just a little bit mixed up. From what I understand, his will was changed shortly before he was murdered by Arcangeli. But he may have been... there's a great deal of indication that he was a very depressed man. What his affiliation with Arcangeli is, I don't have any idea. All of the literature seems to suggest that this Arcangeli was a nefarious of some sort. And he sort of looks around, which is odd because you guys are all alone. He says, possibly a, how do you say it, a pimp? Perhaps he was trying to get rid of his depression physically. You know how that goes.
Yes.
But he left a great deal of his things to a waiter, and that is, I believe, who my great-grandfather purchased the scholarly works from. I don't know if there was money or not.
Oh, yes, that's interesting. So perhaps in your record somewhere you have the name of this fortunate waiter who did Winkelmann such a good service that he was rewarded thus.
I can look. I'm not even sure where to begin, but I can have a look for you if that's all right. Perhaps I can tell you when you've finished with the book and bring it back to me.
I wonder if this waiter would have been how a lot of historians would write about men that were friends. They were friends that lived together. I wonder if this waiter and Winkleman had a relationship that would have been frowned upon at the time and at this time in 1920.
Certainly the man murdered him.
Yeah.
So
the waiter murdered him?
No, I'm sorry, I said yeah. I thought you were talking about Arcangeli.
Oh no, I was thinking maybe that's why he changed the will to the waiter, because maybe they were.
Well, I mean, if there's anything else I can do for you, please. You have my card. You have my number. I do have a telephone. You called me yesterday. Of course, I have a telephone.
See. I just one other speculation, and we will leave you with your to your, I'm sure, busy day. We were struck also that of the 8 coins, that the medallions for which the case was obviously made, one is not in the museum with the others.
Oh, I as I say, I really wasn't. I don't know that much more than what you know.
See.
It's perhaps it's a mystery that you can solve.
Yes, we would like to. It's a curiosity.
Theodore,
very generous.
Theodore, Dorian, and Dr. Neruda, please do a spot hidden roll.
Hey, look at that. I failed.
Also failed.
I failed and have to spend 6 points of luck to pass.
You'll spend
Thank God.
6 points of luck to pass. Okay. So I'm assuming that's the end of your conversation. And as he's showing you to the door, Marco, the waiter, is standing next to the door, and he's opening it. Maybe a little too soon before you actually get to it. Doctor, I'm gonna type this to Doctor Neruda as you guys are going out.
Did this Marco even take our coats from us, or have been sitting around covered in furs the whole time, dripping on the marble floors? I wonder.
He probably maybe he hung them up next to the door. That makes sense.
Threw him on the couch.
Threw him on a dog.
He took it from us and immediately just dropped it onto the floor, and then wiped his feet on it.
Thursby, you were mostly a collector of things that are from animals, but have you seen before this interesting patina on these sculpted pieces? I suspect that this dripping sort of shape is a calcium deposit, specifically a calcite matrix that was.
That stands to reason, but I'm not sure. I wouldn't have seen anything like that before in all my hunting.
So have you guys have gone outside? Yeah. You've stepped outside. You're walking back towards the taxi.
He seemed very helpful.
Once we get into the taxi, I mean, I'm like, something's off about Tremona.
What do you mean? He seemed like a...
I feel my flesh crawling up my neck. There's his missing arm. There was something moving under his robe.
Do you think he might know something about the simulacrum?
I don't know what it is, but it wasn't an arm. It was just wrong. Whatever it was wrong. Sorry.
You don't think maybe he just had like a nub and that was...
I mean,
possibly.
Maybe, but
I put a certain weight and stock behind what you're saying here because we've all experienced some pretty bizarre things so far. So I know you're not overreacting.
I just, with what happened to poor Katerina.
Yeah,
I can't forget that little rat creature with the human hands.
Oh,
I wonder if he's being manipulated by this somehow.
We are looking for a left limb, after all.
Don't we have the left limb?
You have the left limb.
We have the left, but
we have left arm and leg.
Oh, I thought it was Dabrowski's right. That's why I'm confused. That hurt him.
Here's the left.
Oh, yeah.
So are you heading to Marcius Monanelli to translate? Is that what you want to do?
I think so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have to get this translated. I'm of the firm belief that we'll make some progress with the translation.
Before, as we are driving away in the cold, I assume the Termona estate is an old building. You described the portico, and
yeah.
And what sort of grounds is it on?
It's got its own. It's got a fairly large grounds, though there are other villas nearby. It has what looks like a formal garden with trees. Of course, it's winter, so the hedges all have snow on the top of them.
In terms of outbuildings, is there anything like a family mausoleum or the like?
You don't see anything separate from the buildings.
No, but there could be cellars and sub-cellars where
there could be things blocking your view of the back too.
Like at that chateau in France where we found the first piece, very below, unbeknownst to the owners above.
Yeah, in that case, they had no idea, but in this case, it might be somewhat different.
Yeah.
At this point, it seems that when people are unfriendly, they are safer than when they are friendly often.
Yeah.
Right.
So perhaps his Monanelli will, if he offers us a beverage, we should all drink it.
We should all drink it?
We should not all drink it.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I mean, if we all drink it, then we'll all die together, and then
Oh.
Then it will no longer be a problem.
so yeah, it will be our problem. That's for the
Yeah,
answer.
but
Those
for
are
some other
Very
hopefully.
fatalistic. How far away is Monanelli's?
Probably only about 10 minutes.
Taxi driver's probably listening to our conversation. It's like,
No, you're probably not having it in
yeah.
Italian,
Yeah.
so he probably doesn't
He would
understand.
be with Skins one or some.
All right,
Nah,
so
I just thought
you
that would translate it for him.
Translated for the taxi cab driver.
so you travel to what appears to be like a slightly more modern kind of Italian apartments. They're nicer than apartments. Their dwellings are kind of stacked all together in this part. And you find the address. You go up to the door and you knock, and you are met by a female servant who says, in sort of broken English, she said, he is expecting you.
Oh,
See,
Mille grazie, signore.
Please
Signorina.
come inside. You can hang your coats there.
thank you.
And she takes you to a back room. Inside the room, as you come inside, there are books and there are manuscripts here and there. There's a large desk, and behind the desk is a man, say he's probably in his 40s. He has quite a bit of a beard. And as you enter the room, he looks up at you and smiles, but he doesn't get up. And he's like, my friend Antonio just called. He said you have something you want me to translate.
Yes. The diary of Johann Winkelmann. It's written in ancient Greek.
Yes, I've been aware for some time that he had this in his collection, though I've got work, and he never seemed interested in translating it. Well, let me see it. Can all do spot hiddens?
Come on, Dice.
hey,
I failed.
Yeah.
I failed.
Theodore, I don't know what your hays are, because sometimes your hay is, hey, I
Yeah,
got it.
no,
Hey, I didn't get it.
it's sorry.
This is the latter type of hay that
It's 59 out of 55, but I'm willing to spend the luck just so I can have a success tonight.
Did anybody pass?
I have a hard and
Okay.
only need to spend one for an extreme.
No,
so.
just a hard. What you notice as you approach the desk is that he's in a wheelchair. He has a blanket draped over his legs.
In the land of Trieste, the four-armed man is king. Four-limbed, not four-armed.
And he says, so, well, if you don't mind, let me see it.
Of course.
He takes it, and he's wearing gloves. He takes it and he opens it up and he says, oh, this might be somewhat of a challenge. Dialect Sionic. And he flips through the pages. Well, gentlemen, I would say come back either tomorrow late afternoon or possibly the following morning. I'll give you my card with my phone number. This is going to take me at least a day, maybe a day and a half to translate.
I think that's very impressive that you could consider it in such a period of time.
Well, I can see how many pages it is, and it's in the dialect I am mostly familiar with. I'm speaking conservatively.
I'd like to kind of walk around nonchalantly and try to get an angle at where his right leg would be, specifically his right leg.
Okay.
Is it there? Or
his legs are covered in a blanket.
Oh, completely. So I can't sort of come around towards the rear and kind of see, or
right. And there's not much room to go behind him. But I'll have you do a spot hidden roll.
Okay. This is when we're gonna roll a 93. Okay. I bump into the wall.
Roll a 93, God, you don't see anything.
Yeah.
So gentlemen, he gets your information, you get his information.
Right.
This might be very interesting. Or perhaps not. This first line here, I can tell you, says something about his dinner wasn't very good at the hotel in Rome. It seems to be a journal.
We expected perhaps things took a turn for him, and this might help explain
something
more vital things toward the end of his life. Are you familiar, being a resident, with the collection at the Museo of the medallions he was famous for?
I haven't gotten around much in the past few years.
Certainly.
And the museum is not exactly wheelchair accessible. No. No, I'm afraid not. So I will, you want me, I can call you when it's ready, or you can check.
Yeah. Certainly, if anything comes up that you find interesting, please, we are eager to hear from you. We certainly don't want to bother you while you're working. If it is not an insult to you, if we could remunerate you for your services, we would be happy to. So the university with which we are working has a stipend for these sorts of things.
Well, then in that case, and he gives you his fee, what it would normally be, depending on the number of hours.
This way we don't have to take you away from your work in a way that inconveniences you unduly.
Yes, thank you. And he says, if you will show yourselves out.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay. So you step outside. It's chilly. You're going to get back into a taxi and head back into town. Okay. What would you guys like to do next?
How far out of town is his abode?
Who, Mark?
Where we're just leaving? Is this in?
It's part of the town. It's
part of the town.
Yeah.
He doesn't make obviously as much money as Termona has.
Yeah.
Probably nowhere near.
Perhaps all of this we would walk if it were a beautiful spring day, but
that's probably true. Yeah.
Unfamiliar city when it is bitterly cold, you call a car before you leave and you rush away.
There are things to see if you wanted to on your travel book.
I don't know if I'm paranoid, but I'm a little concerned. He's translating a copy or the original?
The original.
The original.
I don't know. I just, something doesn't feel right. Like I fear that something may go missing or not translated right here. I don't know. Did any of you get sort of an off feeling in there?
I haven't had a on feeling for a while since we've gotten on this godforsaken train, to be honest with you, Theodore.
I beg to differ, Heblock. You've had a couple of on feelings. It's just that they have not worked out very nicely.
Yeah.
For anyone.
Yes. Yes. But yeah, but I'll be honest, Theodore, I felt very like he was exactly what I expected. I mean, an academic that, he wasn't offended when we offered to pay him. I might have read him wrong, but I don't trust anyone, to be honest.
It's curious that Ramona never had the book translated until now.
No.
And you've got a very weird feeling about back there.
I think one possibility is that he was not interested in the diary because the information within it is not news to him.
Perhaps.
Also, though, his warm and friendly approach was perhaps overdone. Perhaps his assistant Marco describes more accurately the atmosphere of the house.
I wonder then, well, if he had nefarious purpose or intent, then why would he given us the journal so freely to translate unless he knows that nothing is in what he gave us?
Very possible.
Are you driving back to your hotel?
I think we'll at least regroup and lunch at the hotel while we debate these things.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
can try again fruitlessly to see if we have a telegram, and we do not, I trust. And good old
Okay.
Smythe.
If you go by the post office, there's no telegram. I would like you all to do, once again, a spot hidden roll as you pull up to your hotel.
15!
So just Theodore?
No,
28.
I passed.
Nine.
I got it. I got a hard.
95.
Did my first check
You
mark
need new
since-
dice.
Gabriel.
Morgan.
I just got off 0, 0.
Sorry. That's terrible.
So then, Dorian, I need you to do a dexterity roll.
Oh, shit.
You'll see the ice.
He poked himself in the eye.
I failed by 2,
Okay.
but I just don't have luck. I really don't have the luck to spare. Not
Yeah.
really.
You step out of the cab in front of the hotel and you slip on the ice and you fall on your left side, smashing your arm against the pavement. The others can help you up. Those of you who passed, you notice that there are people around. It's a hotel. People around, but you're in front of the hotel. There is a man standing outside of the hotel smoking a cigarette. He sees Dorian fall and he sees you getting out of the cab, but he doesn't react. He stays where he is, but he's definitely looking at the spectacle of you all getting out of the cab and Dorian falling and all of that. The thing about the man is he's rather striking. He is good looking. He is dressed in a very nice Italian suit. And most striking of all is he has flaming head of red hair, with one streak of black in the hair. Now, some people have that streak of blonde. He's got a streak of black in the hair, and he's just, like idiots, or you're not sure what he's thinking, but he's definitely standing there watching you.
Judges.
He is dressed.
Oh, you go, Roland.
He is dressed appropriately for the cold.
Oh yes, yeah. But
he is
nice.
physically imposing.
Not necessarily,
slight,
but not.
Right.
I mean, give him the sort of Euro model, but maybe 29, 30 years old. It's just the black suit, the overcoat, and that flash of red hair is striking against the white of the building and the snow. So you just notice it comes into your mind. He's also got a rather prominent Roman nose, and But you guys help Dorian up.
Yep.
And you move into the building.
When we go in, I kind of glance over as like his head turning, watching us go into the building, or
kind of halfway. As you walk in, he doesn't move, but he just sort of like that as you walk in.
I'll give him a nod.
Continues to smoke. He ignores you when you acknowledge him.
Seems we're observed everywhere we go here in Trieste.
Interesting.
Do you want to get something to eat? Do you want to go up to your rooms?
I'll go up to my room first.
Okay. You go up to your rooms, and before you even need to ask, everything is still there. Your stuff. So you're going to have at least 24 hours.
Up from the room, do we have a view of where the guy was smoking?
No, you can't see the front of the building.
Okay. I go back to a room. I want to check the arm because I very obviously landed on my left arm quite heavily. I just want to check on the arm.
Yeah. And Gunter, you feel a little congested, obviously. You've never not feeling congested.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I check on that arm, I also wanted to check on my own arm just to see if anything has occurred.
No, it's just aches.
I'm glad Dorian has his priorities sorted. Have to check the Sedefkar arm, and then I'll make sure that I'm okay.
Yeah, that's right.
They're all important.
I was wondering, with our 24 hours, gentlemen, the Legrand, he was murdered at he was drinking at a tavern, the Drunken Goat. I wonder if
Yeah, that's now the the French soldier.
Yes, the French soldier. They're drinking at the Drunken Goat, where they fell in with a machete. I mean, we've got some time to kill. Maybe try and retrace their steps, see if there's anything we can find in there.
Yes, I think that's quite interesting.
And then Marchetti was drinking at the Lizard's Cave Tavern also. So we've got a couple things. Now, of course, that was 1790, 130 some years ago. So, but in England, some taverns are.
Well, our travel book told us where City Hall is. They could have building records that could show what became of those structures, perhaps.
And that document has more to do in a direct way that we understand to possible artifacts from the Yonav.
There is a cave nearby, according to the guidebook.
Oh.
Didn't you say something about calcite, Roland?
Indeed, yeah. crypt or cave or underground cellar.
This Grata Gigante.
It should provide a relief from the cold wind as well. The cave systems are very stable in temperature.
Limestone cave, if I remember correctly. Dorian, you might be able to, but limestone notoriously will leach off as the water drips through it.
Yes.
There was actually it'd be quite nice to go into a cave. It's been a little while. Be nice.
Also, we guarantee our bona fides as tourists if we go to an attraction such as this.
Yes.
I don't know. There's part of me wants to go back and just sort of find a place to observe that guy's house that's translating these documents. I just have this weird feeling that something's going to happen.
Because you were talking about it, the Grotto Gigante is roughly 3 miles northeast of Trieste.
Okay. Yeah, that's not far.
It is thought to be the largest cavern open to tourists in the world. It is the size of St. Peter's Basilica.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I would call that genuinely gigante.
There are also other cave systems. There's lots of limestone cave systems in the mountains.
Yeah. But, I mean, as you were saying, Dr. Kurz, I mean, seems like one of the better leads we might have, and it will also solidify, hey, that we are tourists here also.
Yeah.
I dislike very much that we seem to be watched everywhere. I'm afraid that the russet-haired fellow outside is rather more solid than our yellow-suited ghost friend. But yeah, we can have a good lunch, go to the caves, warm up inside, curiously.
Yeah. Do many of you have experience with caves, or maybe Dorian might?
I probably have some minor experience.
Well,
I have natural world and outdoor survival.
Okay, yeah, so you probably would know. Caves tend to be, as you say, stable temperature, but that's usually about 54 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's cold.
It's a lot less cold than the Bora.
Yeah.
Maybe we take some sandwiches and coffee down as well.
Sounds like a lovely picnic.
Well, it's going to be a guided tour. So.
Right.
Gabriel, you were very quiet recently.
Very, very furry.
You're looking a little bit hairier than normal.
Need a shave there.
Is it a full moon? It must be a full moon coming. I turn into a cat.
It's a cat from another scenario. So is that what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, we have to wait for this translation. I don't know what other leads to follow up on at the minute. And again, I'm just thinking of the calcite on those objects and that.
Yeah, man, I'll ask the concierge about those 2 taverns if they're still, if they wouldn't know if they're still around. I mean, I'm not expecting her to build just. Yes.
Some old pubs some old taverns do tend to stay. England itself has 10 to 12 taverns that are from 100 or so years ago, but they've just repurposed and they've kept the same name. So it is possible in the wider Europe, but they are still around.
So are you all going to go down to the lobby, or is one person going to go down and ask questions? Or tell me what your logistics are. What are you doing at the moment?
I'm going down to the lobby to ask the concierge about the Drunken Goat and the Lizard's Cave tavern.
I say We are all having lunch together, right? You check the limbs and in the rooms, and then we have lunch at the hotel, and then we have this conversation and go to the concierge. We want information about the caves as well as the existence of the taverns.
So, but at the moment, you guys are up in your rooms. Gunter's going to run down and ask some questions. Gunter, are you going to take the stairs or the elevator?
Oh, I'm a kind of a heavy guy. I'll take the elevator.
Okay. Then, in that case, do a spot hidden.
Oh, gosh. No.
Okay. So you get in the elevator, you get down to the first floor, you step out, you walk across the lobby, you go over to the concierge. Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
Yes, I was my father, he visited Trieste when he was a younger man, and I was trying to just kind of visit the pubs that he visited in his youth, like the Drunken. He visited a pub, a tavern called the Drunken Goat, and one called the Lizard's Cave. I didn't know if you.
I haven't heard of them. Let me look in the directory. And he starts to look through, and he says, I don't see either one of those. This must have been a while back. Perhaps they've changed their names.
Yes, probably they very likely had. I was no.
Sorry, I couldn't help you.
And the cave, the cave, 3 Mile Thermia, the Gigantica.
The Giganti. Yes. Yes, that's.
It's
quite beautiful. Quite beautiful.
Oh, is it? I'll just come out and say it. I'm not in the best of shape. Do you think a gentleman of my
there
size...
are some stairs, but there's a walkway that kind of leads through the cave, and you can see they've put colored lights to light it up. And I think there might be. It's been explored a long time ago, and they've set it up to be for tourists. I don't know. You're not that fat, sir. You might be fine.
Okay. And do they have like scheduled tours? Do you need to schedule a tour? Is it?
Yes,
okay.
There are tours. I don't think you don't need to have reservations or anything. Okay. Although I'm not sure about this time of year. I'm sure that they've got something going on. If you'd like, I'll see what I can find out.
Oh, yes, I very much appreciate that.
There's probably a timetable.
Yeah.
You're in room, and he tells you you're in room.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll do that. Gunter, once again, do a spot hidden as you turn around to go back towards the elevator.
Come on, baby.
Everybody else are probably getting ready to come downstairs.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to go grab a quick cocktail for the road.
Okay.
Just down at the bar.
How'd you do, Gunter?
I got a regular.
Okay. You are crossing the... Let's play it out kind of cinematically. So, Theodore, you want a drink? Is everybody else going to come downstairs?
With Theodore, because I do want to speak to Theodore.
So you guys hop into the... Well, Theodore's... okay. So you guys get into the elevator to come downstairs. And Gunter, as you're going towards the elevator to hit the button to go back up, you then notice that there is, sitting in the lobby, reading a newspaper, there is a Turk with a fez on his head. And just as you realize that, the doors to the elevator open up, and you kind of push everybody back into the elevator before they come out.
So,
what is it? What is it, Gunter?
You know how we've been watched? There's a Turk with a fez over in the lobby.
The fez?
Yes.
Here?
Yeah. Now,
I mean, they are pretty. That's fairly popular.
Yeah, but I hadn't seen them
Wear
for a
in that
while, and
culture right now, and
yeah, but
I see why you're concerned, given the people who attack Smythe and who are after the same things we are.
Do any of you kind of take a peek before the elevator door closes again?
Oh, I'm thinking of walking right over there, grabbing my cocktail and sitting down right across from the guy.
Okay.
Follow
So you're going to do that?
Theodore, so.
And Dorian's going with you?
Yeah, I follow Theodore.
I guess I
right.
will look on horrified as they do this.
So as they leave the elevator and start to walk, glancing out of the corners of your eyes to look at him, it looks like a fairly tall fellow, dressed in a business suit. Looks like a particular, like a businessman, except that he's wearing a red fez. His facial coloration is definitely like Middle Eastern, or and he's got a beard and a mustache. He's reading a Turkish newspaper and sitting there quietly. You don't know whether he's looking at you or not. He seems to be reading the newspaper. You go over and you get a cocktail and you say you sit down.
I'll grab my gin and tonic, grab a newspaper. I'll sit across from him and start reading it. And just sort of look at him once in a while.
You're going to try to read the newspaper? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'll casually read it and glance at him once in a while, and slowly sip my cocktail.
It's written in Turkish.
No, he was reading his own newspaper.
Yeah, I have my own newspaper.
Okay.
In English or Italian.
I thought you were trying to read whatever's on the back of his newspaper. All right.
It's an advertisement for hair tonic in Turkish.
I don't think we could. I have Arabic, but I don't know. I don't think that would cut.
Yeah, useless.
Well, Dorian, do an intelligence roll.
Oh my!
Another 000.
No. That is not my own, because that would be no 04. Yeah.
Oh,
04.
Okay. Well, you don't recognize it because it's not really in an Arabic script. It's in Turkish. But it's sort of, your mind takes a picture of the back of that newspaper. Okay. There's maybe some large text and there's some advertisements. But that's just for some later time. We'll bring that up again.
Okay. It is ingrained in my memory now.
What are the other three of you going to do?
If I do not see the fellow with the unusual red hair, I think the rest of this is frivolous. Of course, there's a man in a fez. We are in this side of Europe. If we run screaming every time we see a man in some conical hat, we have a very difficult time.
Yes,
there are also people approaching the elevator to go upstairs.
Yeah, I'm going up, or I'm.
You're going to go up?
I'm not.
I'm going to. We must get to the lobby if we want to. Yeah.
So, Gabriel, you're going to stay in the elevator and go up. Dr. Kurz, you're going to leave it.
Yeah.
Okay, and
I'll come to the lobby also.
Okay.
So I guess in my confusion, I stay on the elevator and I get
right. You get put away with a couple of other people, and up you go. So suddenly, Dr. Naruda's not with you anymore. As you, do you guys go to the bar and get something to drink and sit down? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to, have dinner also?
Lunch, yeah.
Yeah, lunch, yeah.
Okay, yeah, lunch. Yeah, that's right. It is middle of the day. All right, so you do that. And Dr. Naruda, you've gone back up You have.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back down because I want lunch.
You went to the second floor, the third floor, the fourth floor, the fifth floor, and then everybody had gotten out by then, and you went back
down
to the bottom. All right, and then you're going to join them for lunch?
Yep.
Okay. And then Theodore and Dorian, you guys are sitting in the lobby. Did you want to go back and join them for lunch?
Anything interesting in the newspaper today?
Nothing.
Is the guy sitting across from us leaving, or?
No, he's still sitting there.
Okay.
Theodore, I have something to ask. You were on about maybe keeping an eye on that fellow's place. I don't think that's a bad idea.
Oh.
With everything going on.
I'll leave you with this. You go into the restaurant to eat, and you purposely ask for a table where you can see out of the restaurant that they're sitting there. And after you guys have eaten a little bit, you realize that there is no way that he is taking that long to read that newspaper.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So
he's
there.
He is a hides for something.
And I think that is where we will leave it for tonight. Whoops, wrong button. Our players included Morgan Llewellyn, David Gasaway, Stuart Lively, Keith Craig, and Josh Harwood, with yours truly as the keeper of the secrets. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.